wasn't on. Was anybody hearing me? Okay. Okay, starting all over. Okay, Lev, you want to put the text up if you can? I'm just going to read the text of the Mishnah.
Remind me where we are?
Yes, we're in Perek Gimel. In some Mishnah is Mishnah Gimel, and some Mishnah is Mishnah Dalet. The Mishnah starts out, Rabbi Shimon Omer, Shloisha Sha'achlu.
Yeah, okay. Got it. A moment. Share.
I feel like a professional rabbi because I was just talking to myself and everybody was just smiling at me. Nobody had any idea what I was saying until somebody unmuted me. Thank you very much. Okay, that's it. This is great. Okay, I even can translate now. If they didn't say any Torah when they ate together, it's as if they ate from the Zebach of Mason, which means Avodah Zarah. Will Mir Hashem explain that? Shenemar, he calls Shulchanim Malikitza B'li Makom, that all of their tables are full of excrement, devoid of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, or devoid of any place. We'll see Mir Hashem discuss what that means. If they said Divrei Torah, it's as if they ate from the table of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Shenemar, Vaydaber Hashem Elai zel shulchan asher lifnei Hashem. This is the table which is Vaydaber Elai. If you spoke about me, so to speak, then this is the shulchan which is lifnei Hashem in front of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Now this Mishnah has many problems with it. Okay, so I'm going to list some of the problems. Then we'll try to answer the question. This Mishnah is a spillover from the last Mishnah. The last Mishnah speaks about people that are together and they don't speak Torah, and it speaks about 3, speaks about 2, speaks about 1. And this Mishnah, thank you, and this Mishnah just speaks about 3, doesn't speak about 2 and 1 at all. So Ki'ilo, if you have 2 people sitting and eating, it's not Moliki Tzoya. How could that be? Why is that so? And why is it that it's a Moshe Bleitzim when you speak about stupid things? I understand that's called a Moshe Bleitzim. But if a person is not going to say Divrei Torah, it didn't say that we're saying Lashon Hara. It didn't say we're doing Averis. All we're doing is going over the chit chat. So that's Avodah Zarah. Where's the Avodah Zarah in that? Why is that such a terrible thing to have a shulchan that doesn't have Divrei Torah on it? And what does it mean? It's like the shulchan of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. That's basically, I think that we need to have a lesson in what achila is. I think you can get rid of the text as of right now. It could become Tersha Balpeh. I think that the most important place to start with is, I saw from Rosh Hashanah Fall Hirsch something which I think is amazing. This is a riddle question, and I'm sure you're all going to get it wrong. Okay, so I just think about the fact that I'm asking the question now. You maybe will get it right. What is the first mitzvah in the Torah?
Very, very good.
Okay, that's a good guess. That's what many people would say.
Mila. I don't know.
Okay, that's also good. But I'm going to tell you, Mikol Eitz Hagan Tochal. You like that?
Yeah, but that's not our mitzvah.
What?
That was Otto's mitzvah, not ours.
Where did you come from, eh?
That's the first tivui.
That's the first tivui, right? The first commandment. The mitzvah means a commandment.
The first commandment is Yehi Or, if you're going that way.
No. That wasn't that was a utterance. That wasn't the commandment. The first mitzvah of the Torah, the first mitzvah in the Torah
for
mankind was about eating. I think that that's an amazing thing. It's just so novel and so maverick that we have a hard time digesting it. But probably it's telling us something, right? And I think that we can all relate to the fact that there is probably something going on if that's what it says. So what could be the idea behind the first mitzvah in the Torah having to do with eating? All right, I'm just going to say something, being that I'm Jewish, I'm going to say something about Jews, and I believe that this is a basic concept in our belief of what we're supposed to be doing in life. And this is different than the Christians and Catholics' belief. We believe that we have an avodah to be ma'ale gashmias and make it ruchnias. That's our job. Our job is not to separate gashmias and ruchnias. Our job is to be ma'ale the gashmias to ruchnias. And therefore, eating is an unbelievable avodah kedosha. Eating is not something negative. Eating is something unbelievably positive. Now, I just like to indulge you on something which I consider amazing, because depending on what level you're on, how much you'll appreciate what I'm telling you right now. I've said this before, I'm just going to say it again. Rav Tzadok HaKohen, in his Sfarim HaKadoshim, in Sfarim HaKadoshim, he discusses the idea that all words in Lashon HaKodesh are a connection between the letters. If you would know what each letter stands or represents in its multitude of things, you would come to understand why the word is composed of those letters. And one of the words that he discusses is a word in our Mishnah, which is the shulchan. Now, this is a lumdisha question. Anybody who didn't ask the question that I'm asking now is asleep, or at least the ruchnius is asleep. I was writing the Mishnah, I would have deleted one word. Shloisha shlachu ve'ein b'neihem divrei Torah. Right? Is hareza mizivchei meisim. Is there anything wrong, missing in the sentence that I just said now? I don't think so. The Mishnah put in a word which absolutely has no understanding at all. What's the word? Someone take a look. What's the word?
Say the pasuk again.
Shulchan.
Which word? Look at the Mishnah now. I'm going to read the Mishnah again, and you will see there's a word here which is totally superfluous. Totally superfluous. I'm going to read the Mishnah. Which word is superfluous?
All of.
No.
Shulchan.
Shulchan. Why couldn't they just written Shloisha she'achlu v'lo amru divrei Torah kilo achlu v'zivchei mesim? I would have been just as happier. And of the thousands of years that's been around since it was published, you know how much money we would have saved on the ink? What did the Mishnah come to tell us with those words, Shulchan Echad? What is a Shulchan? What does a Shulchan have to do with anything?
Oh, you won't be able to do the pasuk that he quotes without Shulchan. That Shulchan Shalifnei Hashem.
You know what, parents? That is what's called circular. For probably the same reason it's in the Mishnah, is it that in the Shulchan that the pasuk is referring to, and at the end of the shiur we'll have an answer to that. But this is what's called an iyum question, a reading question. That word is extra. I would like right now to tell you what Rav Tzadok HaKohen says about a Shulchan, why it's written Shin Lamed Ches Nun. Okay? If you remember this, you'll always smile. The least amount of legs that a table can have, and it should be sturdy,
4
is 3. A tripod.
Oh, okay.
And not only that, a tripod possibly, arguably, is even more sturdy than a 4-legged table, but we're not going to get into science right now. A tripod, so the first letter of Shulchan represents the 3 legs upside down. The person is not supposed to stand on the table. You're supposed to sit next to the table and eat. The posture of a person when he's sitting on a chair looks like what letter? I see, Dr. Cohen, you figured it out, huh? Looks like what letter? It looks like a lamed. So over here, we're already getting to understand what a shulchan is. The ches is what the conventional shulchan looks like. And the nun is a warning signal that if you sit by the shulchan, you don't have properly, you can go all the way down. all the way down to the Nun Sharei Tuma. That's what a shul. That's now you know why Shulchan's written like that. That's Pashut Chop. But anyways, the Shulchan is the place where it says Bisman Shem Beis Hamikdash Hayakayim Mizbeach Mechaper. Bisman Shem Beis Hamikdash Mekayim, the Shulchan was Mechaper. I'm going to share with you a Chassam Sofer. This Chassam Sofer is amazing. This Chassam Sofer is frightening, and this Chassam Sofer is Pashut. All of the above. What is a Zaken Mamre? A Zaken Mamre is a goyin, a Talmud Chacham, who sits in his house and he learns 26 hours a day. Not 24, 26 hours a day. And he's a recluse and he sits and learns in his Davik and HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and it comes out to him like certain halacha. The Kohen, who's there in the Lishkas HaGazis, and I'm right now quoting more or less the Chassam Sofer at some place in Droshes, if I'm not mistaken. That Kohen runs around the whole day eating basar, standing up, not at a shulchan, and he's going to tell me what the halacha is? I know better than him. I sit in the base medrash and I learn. Says the Chassam Sofer, that is a Zokei Mamre. The person who's in the base Hamikdash that eats lechem elokim, he is suffused with ruchnis that puts the Zokei Mamre to shame. There's a basic understanding in what a kohen is. Chazal tell us, ha-kohen oichel v'abaylim miskaprin. The achila of the kohen who eats kochim is unbelievable to the point that he eats and the bailim have a kapara. Now, if you think that's amazing, listen to what Rav Volozhiner says. Rav Volozhiner says, just like when the Yidden in the Midbar ate the man, it was nivla b'evorehem. There was no ki tzoya to that machal called the man. So too the korbanos that the Kohanim ate did not have any kind of excrement. Imagine what a korban is. Wouldn't you like to have what?
So how could it be? It says that because that they ate a lot of meat and they walked bare feet on the shaish in the Beis Hamikdash, they had to go to Beis Hamikdash, so they had trouble in the Me'ayim. How could that go together with the?
I can answer the question. I accept the question. I can answer the question. But first, it's not a question on me. This is what Bitzel Volozhiner says, not me. But anyways, I will answer for him anyways. I'll answer anyways. The two things are very important concept. A person who does certain things, it could breed in him certain devoid which are negative, which we discussed this in other shurim, the Orach Chaim that speaks about B'richamcha. A person does things that sometimes can cause certain kinds of negativities in other aspects of his life, but not from the korban directly. That's what I think that the answer to the question is. But lo mishaneh. Here we go. I like the question's an excellent question. I'm not picking on the question, just I don't want to get off track. But that's what Bitzel Volozhiner writes. Anyways, so a person is eating. The job of a person to eat is to be mile the food. We know the tightness of the Geonim that said a person, better than fasting, a person should resist taking the last bite, topping off the tank. Yeah, we'll just leave it at that. And I think the mashal is a very good mashal. And I want to share with you a story about the Rebbe Reb Melech religions. The Rebbe Reb Melech had a chassid who was a Baal Taiva. And the Rebbe didn't want to just give him musar. So he told him, he said, do me a favor, come to my house and share breakfast with me. So the chassid is delighted to have this opportunity. He comes to the Rebbe Melech's house, and I'm sure you could well understand there was no menu given for what's going to be served. It was just like some hard bread or whatever, and an egg, whatever it was. And the Rebbe Melech makes a bracha, puts the bread in his mouth, and he chews on it, swallows, and he says, you think you're serving HaKadosh Baruch Hu? You just want to wolf down the food because you love the food. And I know what's happening. That food tasted good. You want to have more. You're becoming like a behemoth. He's speaking to himself. He said, no, that's not true. The reason why I'm eating is because I want to serve HaKadosh Baruch Hu. and really this is all avodas Hashem. And he eats bite after bite, and in every bite, he has this volley with himself until the chassid said, "Enough! I got it." Now, if you think that that's an idea to eat, the avoid of eating, the Avnei Nezer said that he's forever thankful to his mother because of her, he knows how to eat. So he's a little boy. I don't know if you ever heard of this thing called little children. So this little boy, one day, he was served the same porridge 2 days in a row. Stelzach for what a unglik, what a terrible situation. He has the same food 2 days in a row. And he said to his mother, "Mommy, the same food 2 days in a row, I can't survive. You got to have some kind of diversity in life." And his mother says, "What, you eat because you want to enjoy it?" For 1 month, the only food he was given to eat was that porridge. And he was forever thankful to his mother because she taught him how to eat. The reason why we eat is only to serve HaKadosh Baruch Hu. It doesn't mean you're not allowed to be gnana from the food that you have, but a person is eating is in order to serve HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And not only that, there are those who have the minig, and I challenge you to do this. There are those who have the minig. There's a minig kodesh in Klal Yisrael that when a person eats his food on Shabbos, he says l'chavot Shabbos kodesh before he eats his food, and that's boil kedusha. The food is brought down in Svarim HaKadoshim. There are those that are makbid on every spoonful to say l'chavot Shabbos kodesh. And I remember I questioned once somebody who was what I call a bal avoida, and I asked him, "Why do you do that? Don't you think HaKadosh Baruch Hu knows what you already said?" He said, "L'chavot Shabbos kodesh on all the food." You know, when you're in the bakery and they say L'shem matzis mitzvah, kol ma shenoi shayom be'esek hamatzis shem matzis mitzvah. You don't have to say it every time, every word. So he says you'll try it, and it'll take away your taiva, and the Yatak will eat l'chavot Shabbos. You start off, you say the l'chavot Shabbos kodesh, and then you woof it all down. Then you already lost l'chavot Shabbos. If after every spoon you have to say l'chavot Shabbos kodesh, l'chavot Shabbos kodesh, maybe eventually asimon yipol, and you'll take eat l'chavot Shabbos kodesh. That was the answer what this fellow gave me to this question. But at any rate, the avoida of eating is the avoida of what a person's job in this world is. Now I want you to know something. A person lo yaleinu lo aleichem reaches 120 years and his body goes to the ground where it came from, and his neshama goes lemala. What happens to his body? His body decomposes. Tell us the Gedolei HaMefarshim. The person and the food are exactly the same. What happens when a person eats? A person eats, so the nutrition gets absorbed into the body, and the junk gets pushed out the back. That's what soya is. Soya is the junk. It's the wrapper that the nutrition came in. A person also has a split. He's just like a piece of food. And the food, the neshama, goes to the olam ha'emes, and the soya, called the body, remains in the ground. Now listen to this. I heard this from Rav Avrohom Baruch Zachariash, the Rosh Yeshiva of Telz Riverdale. He told me that he heard it from the person himself. That one of the people that was involved in exhuming the body of the Vilna Gaon and moving him from Vilna, where there was a railroad that was built where the Kever Gaon was. All the people that were involved in moving his grave, all of them died within that year. He met one of these people, and he said the Vilna Gaon's body his cheeks were still rosy. Okay, so this is in our lifetime. Vilna Gaon was more than 200 years ago. So what happened to the Vilna Gaon is very simple. The Vilna Gaon, he ate properly. The Vilna Gaon only ate an egg, wrapped in a tissue, every day. The Vilna Gaon had a double chin. Now speaking about the stool digestive system, the Vilna Gaon was a robust person because he ate like a Yid is supposed to eat. A person eats like a Yid is supposed to eat, so then he can be nizon on less, and he will have less stomach problems, and he will go further on that achila than the other person. Not only that, I'm going to tell you something which is, in my opinion, amazing. I saw one of the Meforshim on the Mishnah. People, I'm going to use the word gluttonous or highly indulged. I know anybody out there who has some other fancy word that's good enough for me. They usually are very irritable and they're very annoyed when they don't have what they need. Why is that? Because a person creates the reality which he considers normal, and when he's missing the things in that reality, he gets agitated. When the person's reality is chumrius, is the gashmius, when he's missing things that are gashmi, he gets annoyed. When a person is ruchni, when he's missing things that are ruchni, he gets annoyed. So he said, the people you want to see, that there's no such thing as a person who's involved in food that doesn't get obsessed with food. Now, I will just tell you, I have a friend of mine, you should be well, that when we were Bachrim, this fellow used to smoke a lot. And I met him a few years later, and he said to me, we had discussions, he said, I quit smoking. So I said, why did you quit smoking? So he looked at me, we're very good friends, and he said, I'll tell you the truth. I quit smoking for the same reason I started. So I said, so why did you start smoking? He said, gaiva. So I said, so why did you quit smoking? So he said, gaiva. So now I was lost. So I get the gaiva from starting to smoke, but how does gaiva get you to quit smoking? So he said, I'll tell you what happened. It was 2:30 in the morning, and I was up, and I couldn't fall asleep, and I had no more cigarettes. So I put on my pants, put on my hat and jacket, and I'm going out to the convenience store to get my cigarettes, and I look outside, and it's raining, it's pouring. I put on my raincoat, and I said to myself, are you crazy? You're going to let that little piece of paper make an adult man go out in the rain? Who's bigger, you or the cigarette? And that was the last cigarette that I had. Okay, so, you know, that's one thing. There are people that have the taiva, that's his taiva was for gaiva. People have a taiva for food. And one day they realize, how can I have the food getting me out of bed at 3 o'clock in the morning to have a binge and check out, not what's in the storm shrine, but check out what's in the refrigerator. You know, different people look for different things at different times in the night. Where are you looking? In the refrigerator? What do you do when you sleep this? I have nothing to do, so what do? I eat. What if I have nothing to do? What do? I read a book about Gedalim. What do? I have nothing to do. You learn Mishnayos Balpeh. There's a lot of things to do. Anyways, a person, that's just a little bit of an understanding of what achila is. We're getting a little bit late over here. I want to cover some of the Mishnah. What is the shulchan? What is the shulchan? So the idea of the shulchan is, as the Maral writes, the shulchan has to have at least 3 legs. 3 legs creates a bond that is very, very strong. A lot of times you have 2 people that can get involved in a conversation and they can pass the time and forget about what's going on. When there's 3 people, there is always a lull. There's always some kind of lull. Somebody's disinterested in what the other 2 people are speaking about, and he's just there incarcerated in that environment. He should be remembering, by 2 people, by 1 person, a person could get lost in his food. But if there's 3 people, somebody came up for air sometime. Hello, where are you guys? Says Rav Shamshon Fol Hirsch, the Gemara in Sanhedrin, Daf Gimel Amud Aleph, I just learned it this week, says that the reason why you have to have 3 people who can paskin a shaila, because always evaluate in Yiddishkeit, if there are 3 people, one of them is some kind of a gomer. Somebody learned something, so that you're able to say something, some kind of Dvar Torah at the table. If you can't say one kind of Dvar Torah at the table, something is missing. All right, the time is getting late. I just want to share with you an unbelievable story. We have the history of the Gedalim, and we think that their lives were great, and people gave them kavod, etc. That's not the way it was. That's not the way it is. And I want to tell you about why the Beis HaLevi left Slutz to become the Rav in Brisk. In Slutsk, there was a fellow who was a very powerful rich man, that he was making a bar mitzvah for his son. And this rich man was already a modernized fellow, and he made a 5-star affair, no 2 meters. He made a 5-star affair, and the day of the bar mitzvah, he came to the Beis Halevi, to invite the Beis Halevi, to honor him with his presence at the bar mitzvah. After him in line was this poor fellow, who he also was making a bar mitzvah that day. And the Beis Halevi asked him, okay, I'll come to the bar mitzvah. What's the bar mitzvah boy's drasha about? So he said, the bar mitzvah boy's drasha, you know, Rabbi, times have changed. People aren't really interested in drashas. And so we're skipping the drasha. You're skipping the drasha? I'm not coming to the bar mitzvah. He says, no, it's not really so important anyway. So I said, no drasha, I'm not coming. And then the poor person that was over there said, Rebbe, I'm making a bar mitzvah tonight. My son has a beautiful drasha. He's here right now. I'll tell you the drasha. He says, I'll come to your bar mitzvah. I'm not coming to his bar mitzvah. Now, the rich man had gushas. You understand? He's going to have his big party. The Rav is not going to show up. And not only that, his Rav not going to show up to his. Everybody's going to know that he went to the scum of the earth bar mitzvah, the poor guys. And he said, no way, if you don't come to my bar mitzvah, you're going to pay for it. So basically he said, no drasha, no tiki, no washi, I'm not showing up. So that's exactly what happened. The Beis Halevi went to the poor man's bar mitzvah. The rich man was infuriated, and he made a cartel deal that nobody should rent the Beis Halevi a place to live. We're going to drive him out of town. Okay? And he was very powerful, this guy. And people listened to him. And it became the talk of the town that nobody's going to rent the Beis Halevi an apartment. The Goyish poets heard about this, that which is happening, and he became friendly with the Beis Halevi, and he considered an affrontment to such a fine person as the Beis Halevi that he gave the Beis Halevi a 10-room apartment free of rent for the Beis Halevi to use. The Beis Halevi told him, thank you very much, but he felt there was a chil Hashem, that the Jews are not going to give him an apartment, and the guy is going to give him an apartment, and because of that, he was forced to leave Slutsk, and he ended up moving to Brisk. Anyways, that's an amazing story. How important is the drasha? The Rishonim tell us that the makor for a drasha and Sheva brachas of drasha and of our bar mitzvah is from our Mishnah. Now there's another question on the Mishnah. When is the divrei Torah supposed to be said? So the sha'ochlu al shulchan nechlu amru divrei Torah. The simple reading is after they ate, they still didn't say any divrei Torah. So the Mefarshim tell us the divrei Torah are supposed to be said after we ate, not beforehand. And not only that, some of the Mefarshim are bothered if you said divrei Torah afterwards. How does it help for beforehand? During the eating, they say one is not supposed to say the divrei Torah because shama yaktim hakol loveshet. The person in the middle of get excited, and he's gonna. Somebody says a bad svar, and you can get all excited, you can get all choked up, and chalila something can happen, so you're not allowed to talk while in divrei Torah, even while you're eating. But afterwards, the divrei Torah should be said. So I will just say that I had the schia. I learned shchita under somebody who was a Talmud of Baranovich and a Talmud of Kamenetz, later a Talmud of the Mir. And there was a rule. I used to go with him to the shlachtos every day. And there was a rule, no talking and learning allowed in the car, only vertlach, you could say vertlach. So that was like my Baruch Haba to get into this car, a very irreligious fellow, right? That's it, get into the car, the tonight is not allowed to talk and learn. So I asked him, why not? So one of the other shaykhim, they were in the car, says, because one time we're talking and learning, and he got so mad, he turned around in the middle of driving and started screaming at the guy in the back seat, and we almost got into an accident. It's called altir gezu b'derech. So you're not allowed to talk and learning in the car. That was Pasha, a koch nefesh takana, but it didn't stop that lemaisa, I've heard you allowed to say, that's not talking and learning, that's just like, like a shalom zocher, just like, you have to say something. anyways, so that's the idea that we have, the people that have it afterwards. Now, there's a famous joke about the man who went to this fancy bar mitzvah, the shiur brachos, and Sunday he went to the doctor. He had some kind of stomach problem. So he said, "What's the problem?" Said, "I don't know. The food was good, the company was, everything was great." So he asked him, "Did they ask you to say a drasha?" He said, "No, I planned to, but they never asked me to say one." So the doctor said, "Tell me the drasha." After he told the doctor the drasha, now my stomach ache went away. Because he had that drasha packed away in his stomach the whole time, and he just had to release that from his stomach. When there's a drasha that has to be said, somebody is thinking about learning the whole Suda. So my answer to the question of Mefarshim, what about during the Suda? Invariably, if someone's going to say a drasha after the Suda, the idea of divrei Torah is present the whole time. Fine. That's an answer to the question that the Mefarshim said it, the divrei Torah is afterwards. But I had a question on those Mefarshim. I have a better idea. Why don't you say the divrei Torah before this then? Wash, eat a little piece, stop saying Dvar Torah, and then continue eating. So there's two answers. The simple answer is because when you're done with it, you forgot about it, based on what I said beforehand. But I have a different answer. If you do it from the Alta Vishnitzer Rebbe, today's the Alta Vishnitzer Rebbe, he used to say a line, Besser akava faran davin and vidavin faran kava. Better to have a cup of coffee before davening than to daven to have a cup of coffee. If a person is going to say, okay, I have to say my Dvar Torah so I can go and eat, so then it becomes detached from the achila. So therefore it has to be done afterwards. All right, just like to continue on a little bit. What does it say over here? The Mishnah, to be mole ki tzoya beloy makoim. What do the words beloy makoim mean? So beloy makoim simply means, HaKadosh Baruch Hu is called makoim b'shalom, and that means that this person has no place in the world. Ein lecha adam she'ein lo isha, ve'ein lecha davar she'ein lo makoim. And here we're saying that we actually have a adam she'ein lo makoim. How could that possibly be? How could that possibly that there is such a thing? So the answer to the question is, what did we say? What happens to regular excrement? Not nowadays, but in the olden times, the regular excrement was put into a pile and it was used as fertilizer and it was used for a good purpose, right? Even soya has a purpose. But when the person is oichel mizivchei meisim, so it's osur bahana. This excrement ain't loy makoim. We have no place to put it. This is nuked stuff. This is stuff that you cannot put anyways, and that's why it's called ein loy makoim. That's an akuda which is very important here in the Mishnah. Lechem, the food, the main thing that we eat is called lechem, and the reason why, because lechem has the same word as milchama. There's a war going on when a person eats. Which way is he going to go? And the person has to be careful to make sure that he does the right thing. Okay. We have so many. There's an aspect of saying divrei Torah at the table that's a segula for ashiras. It's a segula for many things, and all those segulas really have to do with the idea of what a person is really doing when he's eating. The Rav says something interesting. Now, there's a question in the Mishnah which I think is very important. You know, Jews are very difficult people. We're hot cold. If you say divrei Torah, it's you're eating lifnei Hashem. Where do we see the lifnei Hashem? This is from a pasuk over here. It's also a pasuk in Yisroi that says that Aaron that it was called. They ate lifnei Hashem. Why was it lifnei Hashem? It says because they were darish at that suda. But the Rav says a famous story. Some say about a Rebbe, some say about a Vilna Gaon. I don't really know who it happened to, and I don't know if it happened to anybody. It was a suda, and someone said Dvar Torah. You have to say Dvar Torah by a suda. So the guy who was in charge said, "You're yaitz already." Right? Because you just said halacha, you have to say Dvar Torah. Now, there's a question that the Rav says that there are those that say that you're yaitze with Birchas Hamazon. And Taisus Yantiv says, how can you be yaitze with Birchas Hamazon? You have a chiyuv to say Birchas Hamazon, and Pirkei Avos is only the Chezidusa. It's not when people are doing Averis. And how can you yaitze with Birchas Hamazon? Agav, according to many Rishonim, the Makor of saying Shir Malais or Al Nais Baba by the Surah is so that we should say some kind of mitzvah, some kind of Dvar Torah in order to make this halacha. But that's what the Rav says. So there are some that say that there's two things. There's Maliki Tzoya and there's Lefnei Hashem. What's the middle ground? The middle ground is the guy who benches. Now, there's some who explain, why is it a basic question on the Mishnah, okay? I'm going back to basics. This is an Aleph-based question. A person who eats and he does not say a Dvar Torah is like Oived Avodah Zarah. Zivchei Mesim. How do we get there? It's not good. He's an animal. Where did Avodah Zarah come from? Where did Avodah Zarah come from? This is a question. And this question has a few answers that are wonderful answers. I want to share some of the answers with you. One question is, there are some people, like the Greeks, they worship their body, right? Some people also worship their body in different ways. They want to just impact it with food. They have an Avodah Zarah. The reason why you're eating is because I like food. I like the way it tastes. What am I idolizing? I'm idolizing my body. That's Maliki Tzoya. If a person understands that there's a purpose in the world, and the purpose in the world is to serve HaKadosh Baruch Hu, so then he is a Lifnei Hashem person. If a person doesn't understand that he has a purpose to serve HaKadosh Baruch Hu in the world, he obviously is Oived Avodah Zarah. He's doing something else. So those that are making on the Rav, there are those that say, what's the answer to the Kasha on the Rav? How could you get Birchas Hamazon? No, because you say Birchas Hamazon, you're acknowledging that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is the Zon and the Farness, and there's a purpose in life. So you have come to acknowledge the purpose of eating is so that a person should serve HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Okay, I think we're already over time enough. We should all be zaycha that when we eat this Shabbos, and if maybe this Shabbos say the covered Shabbos Kodesh, and it should be a schus for me, schus my father is not well, it should be a schus for him. We should all be zaycha to have Shabbos Shalom Mavayrach, and we should be eichel to be ma'aleg al Hashem with the madanim of Shabbos Kodesh. Have a good Shabbos. Tomorrow night, tomorrow at 4 or something. 4, I don't remember what. 4 or 4:30, I don't remember. You have to ask Cliff. We'll be on.
Can I ask the Rav Shiloh about porch minions?
What do you want to ask?
Can I ask about porch minions? I have 2 questions about it.
You could ask, yeah.
I'm part of a porch minion, but I'm actually indoors, looking out the window. Is that also good?
I'm going to answer like a lawyer. It's just as good.
Okay, or just as bad.
That's yeah. You heard correctly.
So my question is, I haven't been doing Birkat Kohanim because I felt like that also, but maybe my feelings don't count.
You shouldn't do Birkat Kohanim. In my opinion, you should skip it. You should go.
I shouldn't do it.
No, and not only that, I would tell you even more that when they get up to Maidim or whatever, you should be not around. You shouldn't be there. You shouldn't take any steps forward. You understand? But you should not do it as far as I'm concerned.
That's what I felt also, but I didn't. The feelings don't count. You have to do the right thing.
Depends who you ask, but if you ask me, that's my answer.
And what about Kaddish?
Kaddish is not as bad. Kaddish is not as bad as Birchas Kohanim. There's what to rely on to say Kaddish.
He doesn't really, because he doesn't do it himself.
If there's what? I'm missing
There's
that?
what to rely on to say Kaddish.
Okay. All right. B'ezrat Hashem, this should all finish fast, and we should all be happy and healthy.
Amen. Amen. But it should all finish fast, as I mentioned, in order that we should have. We don't want this to finish and we be back to the good old times. We want this to be finished to be back to the Beis Hamikdash.
Amen. Thank you.
Okay.
Amen.
Okay. A good Shabbos. Good Shabbos.
Shabbos, everybody.
Shabbos,
Shabbos.
Shabbos.
Bye-bye.
Yeah.